Welcome to Worship Leader Hangout. It's a brand new year. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you clicked on this video. If you're here for the first time, consider subscribing. I know you're probably going to want to watch some stuff first before you do, but that's okay. This is Worship Leader Hangout, and my name's Chad. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how to choose and implement new music into your worship team. Let's go down to the auditorium. I'm setting up for a rehearsal tonight. Actually, it's about to start in about an hour or so, but I want to go down there, get set up, and just talk to you guys about how we choose our songs, how we implement them, and what the whole process looks like. So let's go down there. Come on. Every year, all year long, our inboxes and our subscription feeds and all this tech stuff is just inundated and filled with brand new worship stuff from our favorite worship teams, our favorite artists, and I think that's a great thing. I think where we are as a church, as a whole, writing thousands of worship songs every year, I think that's amazing, but it can also make us as worship leaders feel overwhelmed. Sometimes I pull up an album and I'm just thinking, wow, I like every single one of these songs. Have you been there? Well, maybe except for that one. You know, there's always that one. But I'm always like, yeah, I want to do this whole album, and I can get locked in to that certain band or that certain worship team, and it's hard for me to, you know, veer away from that. And that might be great for where I am personally in my season spiritually, but it's not necessarily the best for our church. What I'm going to teach you or show you today is how to spread this out, how to diversify, kind of like investing, how to diversify your worship music and pull from your team what might be the best music to use for your church. So what I do is I ask all of our worship team to just continue to have a steady diet of worship music, so that way they can suggest to me songs that they feel like would be best for our team and our congregation. From my personal experience, it can be very difficult for any congregation to have powerful, engaging worship when they are introduced to a lot of brand new songs throughout the year. Now, the method of adding new songs to our worship repertoire is probably a little bit different than most. We want to keep our list much smaller. And the reason why I like to keep our list much smaller, and I'm not talking about our set list per Sunday, I'm talking about our entire worship repertoire list, the songs that are actually on Planning Center. I know some of you actually have probably about half as many CCLI has in their entire database on your Planning Center right now. I can see it. Yeah, don't look at me like that. What I like to do is I like to keep ours pretty small. And the reason why is because I feel like the less songs you do, like on Sunday mornings, the more your people are going to know them. Now, I'm not saying only have like 10 or 15. No, I'm saying keep it smaller than you would probably originally think, because our congregation is not always listening to worship songs. Our congregation doesn't listen to worship music? Whatever your opinion might be on secular music, our congregation's listening to a lot of it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they're listening to a lot of Christian radio, but Christian radio is not necessarily what we're doing here on Sunday morning. So if we keep our repertoire list kind of small, we're going to be repeating songs, you know, every few weeks, maybe a little more often than that, and that way they have more of an opportunity to learn those songs, to know them well, and to be able to worship with them and engage in our worship time. So you may be thinking, how do you effectively use a small list? When do you change it out? When do you add new songs, take away new? So this is what we do. This is what I explained to my team as well. We are going to pick new songs as well as keep some of our old ones and have a much smaller repertoire list for all the reasons I said before. And we're going to have this list for an entire calendar year. So, for example, this year I started, announcing to my team, I want you to pick songs, I want you to give them to me. We're going to be going through this. I'm going to be sifting those. I'm going to be sifting the ones that are already currently in our list. And come sometime mid-January, maybe early February at the latest, we will be implementing all the brand new songs and have a much smaller set list for the calendar year of 2019. Of course, it'll carry over a little bit into 2020, just simply because, it takes a few weeks just to kind of turn everything over. Now, once you do this method, you will feel much more liberated into being able to do many more things, many more tasks or many more things that you wanted to do with or for your worship team, because you're not so worried about always adding new songs or always like, is this going to be, you know, a good set list? I mean, you can start building set lists now. If you did 20, that's almost half the year right there. You can also extend that to other worship leaders on the team. Out of the current repertoire list, have them choose, you know, make 4 set lists or something like that. So now comes a point in the video where you're thinking, okay, that sounds great. I like the idea, but how do I start implementing this with my team? Well, I made a 7-step process that's in the description below. I'm gonna go through it right now. Let's break it down step by step. And I wrote these down so I don't wanna forget exactly how I said it. Step 1 is start with why. Share the importance of your congregation engaging in songs that they know while keeping it fresh at the same time. So this is when you share with your team. You sit down with your team, whether it be on Facebook, you do a live Facebook Live thing and have all your team join you either live or later, or you just have a team meeting, bring everybody together and share the importance. Like what I've said before, we want our people to engage in worship. We want you guys to be better and be better resourced to know these songs a lot better than we do now. So just share the why with your team. Once you share the why, it's gonna open that up and they're gonna be able to help you. And it leads us to step 2. So step 2 is ask your team to submit worship songs that you haven't done before, this is important, that they feel would be great for your church. So again, all the things I said before are what makes it great for your church. This can be done via Facebook group, email, text, or whatever you use. And I just say, hey, right here in the comment section on this post, submit those songs. So then I just pull that list up, put it all on Spotify, and I'm ready to go. Just make sure it's easy and ask them to include like YouTube links, Spotify links, Apple Music, whatever you use. As submissions roll in, build a new playlist called New Song Playlist, or your church name, New Songs, or Worship Team, I don't know, whatever you want to name that. Step 4 is to plan a time to listen and to worship with the playlist that you built from all the submissions, even the songs that you think would be great for your team. This is a time where you need to pray that the Holy Spirit would direct you and guide you into what songs you're going to keep and what songs will not work for the spiritual season that your church is in right now. This is very important because if you go into it with just a mindset of what songs I like best, you might simply just choose the songs that you think sound great. And that's not what we're here for. God's put you in your position to choose the songs that are going to work well in the season that your church is in. And you just need to have that mindset. You just need to ask the Holy Spirit, give me your mind while I choose these songs, and He'll tell you. Now we can move on to step 5, which is share your playlist with your team and have a heart-to-heart meeting letting them know how you chose the songs. So they may not know the process that you went through. They may not know, I know for, you know, a lot of the time that I was listening to the songs, I mean, there were times where I was down on my face, just sobbing. There were times where I was just outwardly just worshiping, moving around the stage, the auditorium. And I mean, it was just such a great time of worship just to get away, but also to choose what's going to be great for the church and just let them know that. I mean, it's okay to share that with your team, just so they know your heart and how you chose those songs. And also, you know, I'm not afraid of feelings, but then again, I don't want somebody to not understand why a song that they suggested wasn't chosen. So again, it's really important that they see your heart and know that you're leading with the guidance of the Holy Spirit. Step 6 would be sift your current playlist. So this is your playlist or your set list or your repertoire list on Planning Center. So go ahead and sift through that. You're going to listen or just kind of walk through the list of every song, every single song. If you're the ones that have 300, 200, it don't matter. If you only have 50 on there, sift through that playlist and make sure you are pulling out the tired ones. They're still great songs and they still reach lives, but they may not be right for the season that your church is in. Go ahead and pull those. You can archive those on Planning Center if you want to. You can just totally delete them. Some songs we just have to totally get away from for a while and delete those. We can always add them back. If you did 4 songs, I think I'm right on this math, but if you did 4 songs every Sunday and you did a different song for every song slot for every single week. What is that, like 208 songs? You can only do 208 songs. Well, if you add on one more per week, I guess that's like, I don't know, 260, something like that. You can only do a small number of songs per year anyway, and nobody in their right mind would do a different song every song slot for every single week of the year, much less if you have multiple I mean, come on. So a small number of songs just makes sense. So go ahead and get rid of the ones that aren't working. We were when I sifted through, I had almost 200 songs. When I sifted through, I broke it all the way down to 40 songs. I couldn't believe it. It was the first time we did it. It was great. Anyway, so number 7, final step, is to add the new songs from your final new song playlist. That's about 20 to 30 songs. That's what we did. Add those new songs to Planning Center and all the resources. So Spotify links, YouTube links, make sure you have your chord charts and the keys that you might do those songs in. Any YouTube like tutorials. There's some great tutorial channels out there for like knowing how to actually play certain songs. I did a video actually a little while ago of how to properly add new songs to Planning Center, and by that I mean, you know, making sure you add the BPM, the right key signature, just all those things come into play to have the right resources for your team to learn those songs and to know what's happening. So when you get there, rehearsal, and they know what's going on. And if you want to start doing stuff like getting rid of music stands or not having so much clutter on your stage because of you know, iPads and other things like that, this is a great way to start doing that, to start, you know, saying, hey, these are the songs we're going to use for the entire year. Learn them, memorize them. Now we can get rid of stands. I mean, I did a video on get rid of music stands. I'll link that below too. So now a pro tip here would be to add the key. So in Planning Center, you can like add a new key, not just the original key. You can add the key for what you would sing the song in. Now a bonus, this is not step 8, it's still step 7. But for real. A bonus would be to make a new playlist. So this is our third playlist we're talking about today. Not the one on Planning Center, but our third YouTube or Spotify playlist that has all of our repertoire. All meaning the songs that we did have on Planning Center, that we sifted through. Now, you know, say we had 200, now we sifted it down to 40. We add those as well as the brand new songs that we're going to do for this year to a new playlist. And send that out to your church. Put that on your church Facebook, or put that on your Facebook, or whatever. Put those links on there and say, hey, these are the songs we're going to be doing for this year. Check these out. Encourage your congregation to listen and to worship with these songs. That way when they come in to the auditorium on Sunday morning and they start worshiping, they know the words. They know the song a lot better than, you know, a lot of times especially when we do a brand new song, I mean, nobody's singing. Everybody's like, just kind of reading the words. You know, you have the critics like, you know, doing all the theological checks on every word. And you have the, you know, the people just trying to learn it. They don't know a thing. So anyway, so you can send this playlist out and people might actually come knowing the stuff that you're going to be doing. I will also link, a lot of links today. I will also link our final playlist below in the comment section. Not in the comment section, in the description. And so you can check that out too. You can see the songs that we're doing here at my church. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it's kind of a long-winded one and I just kind of sat here and talked to you, but I really feel like this information is going to help you as a worship leader, but also I feel like this is going to be hugely impactful for your team and your congregation, because when we did this, it's liberating. It just feels like, man, this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it well. And our congregation is gonna know the songs, be able to engage in worship a lot quicker. It makes a big difference on the worship of your church. And I know this is gonna, if you decide to do this step by step, I know this is gonna work well for you. You are an anointed man or woman of God, and God has placed you in your church for a reason, and you're seeking new information, how to do things, and I just really appreciate you clicking on this video, and consider subscribing to be a part of Worship Leader Hangout and to know when new stuff comes out. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, great worship leaders are always learning. Have a great day.